Fools. If only you had met your end here, then you'd never have to face the ultimate despair that lies ahead. And I'm like, oh, Junko Inoshima's in this game?
Where we play a little bit of a video game and talk about how it makes us feel. I am Sam Allman.
I am Elias Sailor Eli Warren.
And I'm Maddy Grace Weapon.
And today we will be covering chapters, 9 and 10?
Yes, 9 and 10.
9 and 10 of Brave Story New Traveler. But before we get to all of that, how's everyone's week?
Good.
What's the Eli update? Oh.
I mean, I had therapy on Friday, and that went well, and one of my implosions unimploded, which has been, like, fucking insane. Like, I'm still kind of in shock that I'm talking regularly to this person, and it's like, we're friends again like we were.
That's really good.
And, like...
You see the thing about implosions.
We have... Like, we've spent a long time, like, talking about our feelings about all the things that happened between us and, like, what was going on with her and what was going on with me. And, like, she even mentioned, like, I have so many regrets about how I handled that situation and you know, the things that happened, but we're working to move forward from them the best that we can. And I think we're both finally at a point where the people who were causing us so many problems and causing us to end up having problems with each other because it was all feeding into our anxiety has finally gotten to a point like we don't have to worry about that anymore, and we can just be friends and have fun and not feel like we're letting each other down constantly.
Love that for you.
That is good.
I still can't fucking believe it happened because shit like this just doesn't happen to me. So I'm just like, I'm just enjoying the ride for what it's worth. And you know, if shit happens again and she needs me to back off, it's okay, you know, and I'll give her space and I'll be confident that, you know, we can still be friends at that point. So
yeah. But that's dope. I am glad. I got my Johnson & Johnson COVID vaccine yesterday.
Nice.
And
hell yeah.
It was awesome. And
how sick did it make you?
So it ended up making me quite fucking sick. So they do the thing where they hold you for 30 minutes or whatever, and I was fine. And we went to Burger King, and I scarfed down my burger, and everything was fine. I took care of the kids all night. Everything was fine. But as we're putting Scarlett down for bed, me and some were like, shit, it got really fucking cold out of nowhere, right? We're like, yeah, it's like, it must have like a cold front come through and it dropped it down to 20, and it was 50 degrees, and I've acclimated to the north enough where 50 degrees isn't fucking cold anymore. And so we're like, wait, I think we might be getting a fever, and we're like, whatever, no big deal. And so my stomach feels a little nauseous, so I'm like, oh, I must just be really, really hungry because the last we ate was Burger King at like 11 o'clock in the morning. And so I go to get and I make myself a peanut butter and jelly real quick because I was about to record Book Club no Kiseki, and I start to eat it, and it's just like the worst decision I've ever made in my life. Like, you know, sometimes when you're sick and you're trying to force down food and you like over chew it because your body won't let you actually swallow it. Like, that was happening, and it was nasty, and it sucked. And so while Bernard and Matt were on Discord ready to go, I was like, yeah, I can't do this. I gotta cancel it. And so we pushed it back a week, but it was real bad. And thankfully my nausea didn't last very long after that. I was fine, but it was just the fever that sucked. So I bundled up, and my fever broke at like 3 o'clock in the morning, and I've been fine ever since. But
that's good.
Yeah. But you know what What's a lot worse?
What?
COVID.
Yeah.
So,
My sister.
I will take a 12-hour fever any day.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's about how it was for me, Sam. Like, it really sucked for a bit there, but then it was fine.
Yeah.
My sister and her husband both had COVID, and they got their shots recently, and I sent her a message and was talking to her. She was like, honestly, the shot made me feel worse than COVID did.
Weird.
Yeah. And apparently, I mean, that's also something I've heard, though, is that if you've already had COVID, getting the shot, like, your body reacts worse to it. Yeah.
Maybe your immune system is like, oh no, not again. Or something like that, and it like flips out.
I don't know, but I'm glad that it's over. And Matt will be getting his shot here in a week or so, and Becca is a teacher, so she's already had hers. So that means our only friends in Wisconsin
can like get dinner or something,
and we can hang out. And it'll be
That's
great.
awesome. Yeah, so. But don't forget that you still have to wait a few weeks after getting your second one, or after getting your one dose or whatever. Do y'all know how the new weird mRNA vaccine actually works?
Yes, it's so cool.
It's really quite brilliant. It's like, basically, it's like, I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but it's like, instead of being like, here's a fake virus, we're putting the fake virus into your body. It's like, here's some DNA, here's some blueprints so that your cells can make the fake virus, which is why you need to wait a few weeks. Because your body literally is, that's a gross oversimplification, but I read a couple articles that were really long that detailed it, and I think that my oversimplification is pretty accurate.
Yeah, it's pretty close.
Where it's like, we're gonna make the part that matters in using your own body's systems, and that makes it I'm sure you've already heard that they're already starting to use it to have other breakthroughs and other diseases, because if you can just genetically sequence the thing that you want to make, you just punch it in. I mean, it's not that simple, but like. Right now, the previous vaccines needed to have super complex equipment, bespoke equipment for every vaccine. And the new vaccine, apparently it is almost like a super fancy, complicated version of a 3D printer. It's like you use the same machine that you used to make the last vaccine, but you put different data in it, and it makes a different vaccine, which is incredible.
And it's nuts. So, like, they were hoping to be as good as the flu vaccine. And so when they got their numbers back that they were 95% effective, they're like, hell yeah, the flu vaccine is only 40% effective.
Yeah, it's actually way better than the flu vaccine. Yeah, so good on them. Good job pouring out for scientists.
Yeah, I'm hoping that this will be like, we have a new like flu vaccine. We cure the common cold now because the common cold is another coronavirus. Yeah, and so it's like, well, maybe like. All these things now we just know, like, tell our 3D printer to print out the 4 cans and whatnot.
Well, I mean, there's also the question of infrastructure and
absolutely
profit, and profit motive and copyrights and stuff like that.
Garbage.
But theoretically that would be nice.
Yeah.
But that's awesome though. Super glad everyone's getting backed up. I am going to be totally vaccinated, aka it's been 3 weeks since my second dose. Next Thursday. I don't really have plans. No, actually I do. I'm in a study group with some of my friends, and we've been doing a Zoom meeting every week, and on Saturday we're going to meet at someone's house and hang out on like their couch or something, and it'll just be totally normal, which is really exciting. But yeah, anyway, it's really great. My week, I don't know. I'm pretty much moved in with my partner now. Oh no! I already told you all about this stuff last week. Yeah. There's nothing particularly new since last week. We did finally get our table, which we've been waiting for ages. Our house is quite small, but we had the smart idea of getting a fold-out table. I had the idea of getting like a small card table, but my partner was like, no. We should get like the kind of table you might put up if you're doing like a function, right? Like a rectangular plastic table that folds. So we keep it in the closet, the table and the chairs, and when it's dinner time, or if we want to play a board game, we just pop it out. And now I have a table. It's really fun. I'm really happy that we have that. We just got it yesterday. We kind of broke it in. And yeah, and also me and my partner did in fact finish watching Twin Peaks season 2. So we are all caught up on the old peaks, which means I got my Criterion Firewalk with Me Blu-ray in the mail on like Thursday. So we're real excited to watch that. And also final thing, I can't give details yet, and probably might not give details for a while, though I could share privately if I felt like it. I have pretty much decided on an exciting new life adventure. Sort of let's say a career change, that I will not share publicly yet, but I'm really excited about it. It's a way to hopefully have a new career that will, eventually, not right away, but eventually, because the thing is right now, unlike the last couple of years, I actually have a pretty amount of money. Which is awesome. I've really been doing really well the last year or so and being really careful and also quite lucky in some ways. So I have money, and the thing about money is it lets you be flexible, The problem is switching from one job to another is, what do you do in between when you don't have the job, right? So having a bit of money means you can actually do things like work part-time while you go to school or whatever, right? It's actually that's one of the worst things about being poor, is that you can't make any changes to your situation to stop being poor, because you need the resources to do that. So the point is, because I'm in a better situation life-wise, and because of my partner moving in and some stability that I have the opportunity to make a big change. That, again, it'll allow me to hopefully be on the path to having a really great job that hopefully I can have the rest of my life even, or at least for the next decade, until I get bored and want to do a new adventure. And it'll also be a way for me to do that while following my heart and pursuing what I really care about, which is political and which is political and economic change in the world and in America. And this really puts me in a position where I can do that.
Nice.
So
I love that.
Really, really exciting. Again, wish I could share what it was, but I pretty much made the decision that I'm going to do it yesterday, and talk to my partner about it, all that kind of stuff. So just like real exciting stuff. I don't know, maybe in like 2 months, I'll share what it is. Assuming it all works out, which who knows, maybe it won't, maybe it'll crash and burn, but very exciting. Loving life. Life is good. Loving Brave Story New Traveler. Once again, would love to play another video game for once, but maybe one day. Maybe one day I'll play a video game again.
Maybe. But, speaking of Brave Story New Traveler, let's listen to a background music track 60, and
That's a good one.
And then we will talk about what we played this week.
All right, so things were, if you recall last week, things were really heating up. We got our 4th gemstone, and we met the dragon gods. Basically, this game has more than one thing in common with Chrono Cross, and
It's really true.
Yeah, I'm not saying they're the same fucking game, okay, but there's a couple interesting points of comparison. Anyway, we went to the dragon location, and they shared that the story was taking a new turn. It's not just like we want to fulfill our wish by getting all the MacGuffins, and the bad guy also wants to do that, but in a bad way. And also the bad guy is an evil wizard who just, I don't know, I guess he thinks it's fun to just fuck things up in any town he goes to. Like, haha, I'm gonna make something bad happen, haha. But no, now there's sort of a bigger conflict, which is that there's these demons that apparently have been locked away for centuries, and they're the mortal enemies of the dragons, who are sort of the gods that protect the world, and there's going to be this big fight between them, and blah, 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 and we're somehow connected in all this. with the newfound power of our airship, and by airship I mean a dragon that we fly on, but we all understand that from a conceptual design standpoint, it's an airship. We fly back to Loudthis Observatory, which is also Chapter 9 is called What Matters Most, which is the kind of dramatic, vague chapter title you get when you're getting near the end of the game. Earlier in the game, it's like the missing girl, and now it's like the power of friendship. So we go to Loudness Observatory, and we go to the top floor. We couldn't go there before, but now we can because Roppel's with us. Roppel, who is an apprentice at Loudness Observatory, speaks with Dr. Baskin. Dr. Baskin's like, dude, I saw you riding on that dragon. That's dope. Good job, man. So you're having a good time. We try to explain why we're here, but Dr. Baskin already knows the score. He says, quote, 2 great and sinister shadows have fallen across your constellation, and that our journey will be more difficult than Wataru's. That's the other traveler, if you forgot. The 2 shadows are obviously Ray and something else. Also, there's another star called, quote, the Lost Child, which dances among the shadows, blinking as though crying. There's a little comedic bit here where everyone assumes that the lost child is Ty, and they kind of joke about Ty being like, oh, are you crying? Are you sad? Are you depressed? And then the doc chastises everyone for jumping to conclusions. But Roppel says, look, we may not know everything, but it's clear as day that Ray, who is evil, cruel, and lacking in all compassion, is fated for a climactic clash with Ty. But then Dr. Baskin says that those qualities can be found in every heart. He then says a dumb line about how if you hate someone and want to destroy them, that means you're just as bad as them. Whatever. But then they save it, and it goes on to have a bit of a philosophical discussion about how basically no one's heart is only good or only bad, and maybe we would have turned out like Ray if we'd had a different circumstance, which that's valid. Then he says that vision changes to reflect a traveler's heart. The fact that you, meaning us and Ray, can both exist here at the same time proves that you are both the same. Everything around you is either part of your heart or his. You need to believe in that which you have and he does not. Editor's note, it's friendship. He tells
Real
us...
traveler was the friends we made along the way. Or like that.
He tells us that the stars are pointing us to go towards Lyris. We go to Lyris. But that, if you recall, that's the Italian town from earlier that has an uptown and a low town and also a big cathedral. Something seems wrong. There's no guards. Then a hooded figure shows up, like looking like a damn Tetsuya Nomura, and is all, follow me. And then Melody is like, oh, hey, Cuts. And he's annoyed that we immediately recognized that it was him. If you recall, Cuts is the captain of the branch from here. Yeah. Oh, Cuts is a girl? Actually, I legitimately forgot. No, Cuts is a dude.
Nope,
Cuts is the other hot chick that was in your party.
Oh, the one from just a little bit ago. I was assuming that it was the captain of the branch at this actual town, but no, it's the girl from... Oh, that's right, he drowned. Okay, look, you can't expect me to remember things in the game that I played and wrote notes on, okay? You're right, so she's the hot chick from literally just last week. Okay. So she's just here to help out, even though it's not her town. Got it. So anyway, she tells us that Father Diamond of the Sistina Cathedral has started a rebellion. So they're doing the thing where the church is... So we all thought that in this game, the Highlanders were sort of doing the typical trope of, oh, it turns out the church is bad, actually, except instead of the church, it's these mercenary knight order. But actually, no, it's the church. Even though it hasn't been like remotely in the plot at all. I don't even think you have to go into the cathedral at any point. It's just somewhere you can go to talk to NPCs if you feel like it. So anyway, she tells us that Father Diamond of the cathedral has started a rebellion of some kind. No one really knows why. But he's locking up Highlanders, so that's why everyone wears disguises. So we all wear disguises. She then says Highlanders from all over are secretly coming to help with a counterattack and that we should go sneak into the cathedral to investigate. So we go to the cathedral, and we enter through a secret passage into the catacombs. Kut says, let's split up, and if anyone gets caught, just go ahead and make a ruckus to make a distraction for the rest of us, which is actually a pretty smart idea. Dungeon time. So I had this as a memorable moment, but actually, I guess it actually is kind of a plot moment. So there's no battles in this dungeon, and you're like, ooh, is this one of those cool late game dungeons where they start breaking the mold and not having battles? Well, it turns out the reason there aren't battles is because why would there be enemies in a catacombs? It makes no sense, like diegetically or narratively, that there would be. A catacomb should not have monsters in it, especially a well-maintained one by a church. So there's no battles. And then in a second, there's a cutscene where Yuno sees someone off screen and is like, oh, a person. And then she's like, pardon me, sirs, I seem to have got my little self lost, turning on the charm, trying to like charm the guards. And then the camera pans to see who she's talking to, and Leinart is like, those are bees. Those are literally, and they're literally just typical the bee enemies that we fought 1,000,000 times. They're Vespids, and she's like, "Oh, it's guards. Let me seduce them." And it's just like, those are bees, you idiot. So we fight the bees, but the reason I mentioned all that is because it is an interesting little plot moment where it's like, oh, the bad guys, in order to protect themselves, since they're all hiding deep in the catacombs, must have like just opened up the doors and let all the monsters come in so that no one could follow them. So anyway, dungeon time. We go through a long dungeon. That's it. Deep within the catacombs, we see
Very long dungeon.
We see Father Daemon and Ray. Dun dun dun. Father Daemon is like something dark side, something complete. And apparently Ray is helping Daemon do his insurrection, so that in return, Father Daemon will give him a special key. But Father Daemon won't give it to him. He says, he's like, I'm not giving you the key yet, dude. You should go outside of Lyris and kill all of the Highlanders that secretly have us surrounded. And then Ray goes on this thing where he's like, I'm not a stupid kid anymore, implying that, like, maybe at some point in the past he had a conversation with Daemon where he was, right? At the beginning of his adventure. He's like, I'm not a stupid kid anymore. After adventuring in Vision, I've become more mature and more intelligent, and now I see how things really are. And he threatens to kill Father Daemon and calls him an old fart. He also summons a big old dragon. I wrote that it was Volg, although actually I think it's not Volg.
It is Volg.
It is? Okay, well, the UI doesn't refer to it as being Volg.
It does. But comes out and goes, oh my god, it's Volg.
Oh, I must have missed that. Okay, well, when you go into battle, it's not called Volg.
Yeah, it's called like Dark Dragon or some bullshit. Yeah.
That's the thing. I wasn't sure if it was or not, so I was like, wait a second, the battle UI will tell me. And then it didn't. So it is Volg, which is depressing because, he was our friend, but now, as he said, his body is like being controlled by the bad guy. They don't explain why. It's just, that's what's happening. So Daemon actually relents and says, okay, fine, I'll give you the fucking key. But then Ray goes on a little rant about how adults suck and think they can do whatever they want just because they're older and how they always abuse kids. And then he tells Daemon that, you know what, I'm going to kill you anyway, even though you were giving me the key. Then we show up, we interrupt things, and Father Daemon teleports away in the bustle. And of course, now we have to fight the big boy. It's the dragon with one of Ray's like familiars riding on top. Ray, before leaving us to fight, says, look, either y'all die here or y'all die in Trianka. Not my problem either way. So then he teleports away. We defeat the boss and are like, hey, Ray told us that he's going to Trianka. So dumb move, Ray. So we go to Trianka, and if you recall, that's the hospital from like our second week. And if you recall, there were a lot of paths we couldn't go through that were like covered by vines and shit. Well, now they're not. So we go through some new passageway, and there's even more dungeon. It's a lot of dungeon. And
I need to go back through and do that because I haven't gone through since the last time I was there.
We get deep down in the depths, and we see a weird glowy aura thing, and then Yuno's charm glows and warps us elsewhere. The place it warps us also just looks like the hospital, but with sort of a different color palette. And then Ray is like, welcome to the brink of hell, he says, like a normal guy. Apparently we are literally in hell. And that evil mirror from before is on the wall and says, actually, it's called the dark. And And then the voice says, Ray, hurry up and remove this accursed gem. So it turns out the mirror has a gemstone inside of it. And then is like, we should hey, look, it's the gemstone. But then Roppel gives us some lore. Long ago, Vision was nearly destroyed by a horde of demonkin. But then they imprisoned them all in a magic mirror. And the gemstone keeps them at bay. So, classic dilemma. We've been trying to get the gemstones all along to fulfill our own personal wish, but oh no, if we take the gemstone, it'll release all the demons and destroy Vision. So you have to make a difficult moral choice of, do I fulfill the thing that I came here for, or do I realize that it's more important to be a hero and realize that the true treasure was the friends I made along the way? Turns out none of that is what happens here. Ray... So we're like, oh, we can't take the gem. I guess we'll never get our wish fulfilled. Ray says that never would have your wish never would have come true anyway. Then the mirror interrupts and is like, Ray, hurry up already. Stop saying villain shit. Just take the fucking gem out of the mirror already. And Ray says, you better not double cross me. The mirror, which is also aka the Demon King, says he promises that the demons will rid Ray of his torturous memories. We fight Ray. For real this time. He also summons a big dragon to help him. We defeat him. Ray stumbles and says, I'm going to be set free and you can't stop me. Oh, actually, given his voice acting, it's more like, I'm going to be set free and you can't stop me. He says, Yuri Lowenthal. He says he wants to be able to trust people again and not to be alone. Sounds like this guy needs to learn about the power of true friendship. And then he removes the gem. He calls upon the Demon King to come out and take his memories. But then we have another boss battle. So now Ray has all 5 gems. He's super strong. He's fully powered. Even though he's all powerful, we still kick his ass. And by kick his ass, I mean, holy Christ, what a hard battle that was. Yes. Holy frijoles. The game is it's hard.
And it's worth noting that there have been no save points in between these last 3 battles.
Yeah.
So you have 3 real hard ones, no ability to like save and get free heals and all of that.
And this game does not use Dragon Quest style game overs.
Nope.
Which really, given all the other Dragon Quest style things in this game, you'd think it would, but whatever. So yeah, it's a lot. So we kick his ass, narratively speaking, and we rush to grab the gem and put it back in the mirror to seal away the Demon King, but he disintegrates the gem into nothing. He said, so it's too late, we can't do it. He says that he's going to erase Ray's, he says, fine, Ray, I'll erase memories like you asked, along with the rest of you. A bunch of really cool, and of course Ray's obviously like, oh no, curse your inevitable betrayal.
I never thought they would eat my face when I voted for the eating people's faces party.
Yep.
Leopards eating people's faces party, yes.
Yep. So anyway, a bunch of really cool graphics happen, and demons swarm out of the mirror all over the world. It's a seriously great cutscene. We see some scenes of them attacking people in nearly every single town, all kinds of different awful monsters, and we see that Melody's sister is in trouble. You think that would be the next plot beat? It's not. Though it could be a side quest. If it was, I didn't do it.
I think most of the things you see are side quests.
Yeah. Like a lot of games, it's got a back half that is way more open-ended, which is neat. I mean, as far as side quests, not as far as the main plot. So back in Trianka, demons are about to attack the party. They got us all surrounded, and we get to make a choice. We can just cut and run, or we can take time to save Ray. Obviously, I choose to save Ray, just in case it's an actual real choice, like Chrono Trigger. Did any of y'all not save Ray?
No, I saved him.
I saved him.
Okay, because again, I don't know. Maybe this is a but thou must. Maybe it's a... Because, like, obviously I'm thinking, like, the whole time through the game, like, I would say for the first third of the game or so, I was like, is this guy going to end up joining our party, even though he seems like a bad guy? But then the game convinced me that no, he actually is really the bad guy. But now they're flipping back again. So I'm like, oh, is it a Magus situation? So I pick, let's save him. But what ends up happening is Ray is like, I don't understand. Why are you helping me? I'm the bad guy. And then everyone gives a speech about the power of friendship and forgiveness and benign a kind person. Ray says that people always backstab each other in the end, and we shouldn't be so trusting because he doesn't want us to get hurt. It's interesting how instead of being like, you shouldn't trust people, you'll just get hurt, you fools, he's like, no, you shouldn't trust people, I don't want you to get hurt, which is an interesting, different way to say it. He tells us that he's been betrayed since the moment he was born. His mom had him and then left him in a restroom in a park. He had to survive on his own, but he studied hard and eventually caught the eye of the director of that hospital. The director and the wife adopted him. So, in case you were wondering before why we kept seeing these scenes with Ray, and then Ray would go out the door, and 5 seconds later we'd hear an off-screen voice being like, son, you've returned home. And I was always like, but we're still in the hospital. Are we overhearing something that's happening like blocks away? Mm-hmm. Obviously, his parents are in the hospital. I was too dumb to think about that. Because I was like, hospital isn't where parents are. Parents are at house. So anyway, so he was the adopted child of the people who ran the hospital. He was all set to take over the family business and had a secure future. But he says that he never loved them. He was just using them for his own advancement. But not like because he's evil or anything, but because even though they truly loved him, he was too hurt to actually accept anyone's love or love anyone in return, which is a real thing and is relatable. Fun, hot tip for those of y'all in the audience: if someone loves you, accept it.
Weird.
I know it's not that easy. He says to read my words, he says he'll ne'er get his wish, but that we deserve to live, and he teleports us out. Fuck. So it seems as though he is dead. I'm guessing he's not actually dead, so the jury's still out on whether or not he joins our party, but he doesn't exactly have a face turn.
The UI has an answer for you.
Is it? It's
the
no.
answer is no.
You're right, because we already have a full party. There we go.
Have a full party.
Okay, but I do think he
took up the last.
I do think he's going to come back, though. I do think he's going to come back. So he's. I mean, if you don't see him die, they're not dead, right? And I do think he's going to come back as a good guy. So anyway,
I think we're going to get in a climactic battle with the ultimate evil, and we're going to kick its ass, and then the game is going to say that we struggled with it, and then he'll pop up and deliver the final blow.
Exactly. Well, even this game, maybe we won't kick its ass mechanically. But yeah, so that's it. So he's dead, as far as anyone knows. Chapter 10, King of the Demons. Wow, we are booking it today. So we awake in the Swamp of Grief. Lau shows up. Quick pause. Did any of y'all talk with, did any of y'all, once you got your airship, go back and talk with Wayfinder Lau just to say, hey, what's up, guy?
He was not there.
Oh.
There's the hardest bird brawl in the game in his.
Oh, wow. See, I thought of doing that, but then I forgot. So I'm glad that someone did. Yeah, because that would make this like thing where you're seeing him for the first time after not having seen him a little weird, right? If you had just flown back to his house and been like, what's up? Okay. So we awaken the Swamp of Grief, and Lau shows up, and he's like, what's up, man? There's a lot of talking here, but it's nothing. Basically, everyone's like, who's this guy? And you say who this guy is. And then he's like, yo, we gotta stop the demons from destroying everything. Turns out that the gemstone wasn't destroyed. It was just warped into the dark. We gotta go find it. And also, we should try and mitigate the damage that's being done by the demons to the whole world until we can seal them away again. He says, now that the seal has been broken, the boundaries between worlds have been weakened. So we should be able to go there and travel to the dark. Neither the party nor me knows what he means. The reason I didn't know what he means is because it turns out we have to get to the dark by going through a big, giant, sealed magical door, which I totally thought was a side quest. So that's why it's not like I didn't remember the big magic door. I was just like, no, there's an optional boss behind that door. Turns out there's not an optional boss behind that door. Turns out hell is behind that door. So anyway, and then also a glowy magic circle appears in front of us, and someone, I don't know, Sogrith or Roppel, or no, it's Melody, I think, explains some lore where she's like, yeah, last time the demons invaded, even though they got driven away, they did like what, I don't know, like Italian fascists did when they got defeated, which is they hid a bunch of weapons caches all over everywhere so that one day they could dig up those weapons and then get their groove back. What's that called when the Italians did it? Whatever, I don't remember. Not a history. Operation something or other. Anyway, the demons did that. And so there's all these hidden dark arms all over the place. And even though they're literally like demon weapons and they're called dark arms, they're fine. We can go get them. It's great. It's good. Yeah. It's great equipment. It's not like they're secretly cursed and we turn evil if we use them or anything. So now there's a side quest where you can go find the dark arms, which are just, again, you just like click on the circle and it's like, here's the sword.
Yeah. The worst part is the freebie one that they give you right there is a shield for Leonard, and I wasn't even fucking using him, and I'm like, God damn it. It's like, it's not even like, oh, it's his new lance, so like maybe I'll use him because he'll be great. I'm like, great, now he has higher defense. Still not going to sacrifice my bajillion unities that I have with the first 3 party members. So.
So anyway, that's the thing we can do if we want. So anyway, we go back to that rock tunnel, and we go to the door, and oh fuck, it is open, and darkness is streaming out of it, real evil-like, and tons of big old demons. Here, we get what I thought was yet another boss battle song, but no, we have new standard battle music for the rest of the game. It's fucking dope. I love that. That's so cool. And the new battle music is really good. So we beat a few rounds of them. So like there's a whole swarm of enemies, and they're not hard. We just gotta fight like 4 or 5 battles in a row. And after we kick all their asses, we get a map of the dark, and we stand before the door. Melody says the difference between us, between Ray and Ty, is that Ray had nothing to believe in, but Ty has his friends. So we go through the door. And yes, in true Dragon Quest fashion, we are now in the Dark World, which is its own entire world map. I mean, not entire, but like it's got its own separate world map. It's really cool. The ground is snowy white, but the ocean is like blood red. It looks cool as hell. Everything is red and white and like some gray. It's very striking. It's cool as shit. We got new music on the world map. We got new music for battles, although actually there's no battles on the world map. Which is weird.
Yes, there are.
Oh,
there
there
are tons.
Oh, I didn't get any.
Did you use stealth?
Yeah, maybe you're high enough level where
maybe I didn't get any. This is right around the time I stopped playing, but I didn't get any. Anyway, I was thinking to myself,
I grinded the shit out on that one because shit's hard.
Nice, yeah, because I just got lucky. So anyway, we run over to the Demon King lair, which is the only other location on the world map, and we do a big old dungeon,
It's a huge dungeon, and I got turned around at one point. I was like, Jesus Christ, I'm about to just use teleport and leave and come back and start over. I have no idea where I was, and I stumbled into the right room. I'm like, oh, hey,
thank God.
This was around the time that I started cheating too, because like shit got real hard. Like I was coming out of fights where like I'd have a boss fight where I won only because Tatsuya had some ability that was automatically bringing him back to life.
Yeah, this part of the game is it's the easiest form of being hard and the hardest form of being easy, where I can knock off 2 quit starings and a bug bite or whatever and take down everyone first turn before they hurt me. but if any of them survive, I lose the battle. It's like, my damage output is high enough, but like my survivability is just god awful.
Basically, it's like we're really strong, and so are the bad guys. So the battles aren't these super long battles of attrition. It's like you'll be fine, but one fuck up and you're dead. But I didn't finish this week. Not actually because it was so hard, but because I didn't do good time management this week. So my bad. I'm actually really looking forward to not just playing this week, but doing all of these fun little side quests that look like they're a really good time. I actually did do one or two that I might mention later, right at the beginning, without realizing that I didn't even know they were side quests. But yeah. Anyway, so yeah, we go through this big old dungeon. And deep inside, we get to... pause. You know something I appreciate about this fucking game? Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure there has not been a single instance when they didn't put a save point at the bottom of the dungeon before the boss.
I can't think of one. There's been a couple times where it has been like maybe 2 rooms before the boss.
Yeah, they do that.
The boss with like 100% health, but it's like always you'll be going through and you'll see a save point and you're like, okay, this is either the halfway point or the close end. To the end.
Yeah. I like that. I don't actually think that you have to do that for games. For example, the Dragon Quest series always does not. You save at the town and you have to go through the dungeon and the boss. But what I'm saying is, for this kind of game, I respect that they're consistent. You know, I would hate it if they did it almost all the time and then they didn't do it.
Imagine you're playing through Mega Man 12 and you're walking through the level and there's not a corridor before the boss.
Exactly.
Like you can't do that.
Psychologically, and it's not even really about the save point because I don't die a whole lot in this game, honestly. It's really more about the psychological, like, knowing that you need to take a second to prepare yourself. And what I'm saying is you never accidentally stumble into a boss in this game.
Yeah.
When it's time for a boss, you know that there's going to be a boss. And even if there wasn't a save point, you could, like, heal and stuff. So the point is, so you never have to be super terrified. You can just gleefully run through the dungeon and be assured that you're not going to suddenly have to fight a boss. So anyway, deep inside, we get to a save point. And then after that, we get to a big room with 4 mirrors inside. They look just like the evil mirror from before, but there's 4 of them and they're facing towards each other. It's kind of weird. Ty goes up and touches one of the mirrors because everyone knows that when you see something that's obviously evil and magic, you should just go touch it.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, let's be serious. That's probably what I would do. I'm gonna touch it. So he touches it, and a Ty doppelganger comes out. Boss time. So you fight him. And then you beat him, and then Doppeldale is lying on the ground, and he explodes and leaves the gem behind. Hey, that was fast. I mean, fast from a narrative standpoint. So then the Gem of Darkness says, "Thou hast done well in overcoming the evil in your own heart." I'm thinking we didn't overcome evil in our heart. We just hit a guy with a sword, but whatever. He says that he labored for eons to keep the demons at bay, but now that they're released, it's up to us. And he grants Ty the power to banish evil. The sword turns into the fucked up Masamune from Chrono Cross. It looks exactly like it.
Yes.
Yeah. Like the evil one. Like once Masamune turned evil. Now I know I'm saying Masamune. Whatever, fuck it. Yeah, like once it's like the whole tragedy that like the holy sword is now the shitty evil looking sword. That's what this thing looks like. So we're like, yay, we did it. We got the gem, we got the sword. Good job, team. But then there's a cave-in, and it seems like the demons want us to be trapped here forever. So we continue the only way we can, assuming that the only way out is through, like in life. Then we get to like a big red lava-y... I don't actually know if there was lava, but it was definitely red. There's like a big cavern, and there's like... It's... Okay, so it's a giant monster that is like... The bottom half is like a giant whale, and then on top is like King Triton. On top of a whale. It's really cool. There's a lot going on. but it's one creature. So yeah, it's like it's like a centaur, except it's a whale and a man. But the man himself has like tentacle thingies. I don't know. It's a lot. It's cool. This is Avira, the Demon King. He's the embodiment of malice and ruin, etc., etc., etc. He said he let us cut our way in, but won't let us out. I'm thinking to myself, you should have let us cut our... Maybe, like, if you let us do all this, then, like, why'd you let us get the gem that makes us more powerful? But whatever. Yeah. I think anytime villains say that, like, everything we did was according to their plan and we just helped them succeed in their plan, I always assume that they're just, like, it's like actually just a coincidence that what we did happened to help them, and they're trying to save face and pretend like it was their idea. Yeah. He's like, I let you defeat all of my minions. I'm like, fuck you. No, you fucking didn't. You're just pretending that so that way you don't. That way everyone thinks that you're still in control of things. Anyway, he does that whole shit. We accuse him of manipulating Rey, and he says that he's not the first or only one to manipulate Rey. We realized something interesting, which is that Rey already had all 5 gemstones at the end there. Like, he just took the gemstone. Why did he have to cut a deal with demons? Didn't he already have the power to have his wish granted? Like, he didn't have to be like, okay, Demon King, you better do your thing if I take the gem. He could just fucking take the gem. So we ask that. We say, wait, why did this happen? The Demon King doesn't answer us. But by way of answer, he does say that our sword is the bane of all demons, and he'll, again, ne'er allow it to be acquired by her. Which, I'm assuming I'm not the only one to remember that there's been only one mention of this earlier, and it was the very first time we ever saw Rey. He was talking to a mysterious girl, a mysterious lady, and we didn't know who it was, and we still don't. So, very interesting, very cool. We had some theories, right? So we'll fucking find out. There's some kind of her. The Demon King hates her. She's involved with Rey in some way. Very cool. Anyway, we fight the Demon King. We hit him a bunch until he dies. After we do that, he's like, fools. If only you had met your end here, then you'd never have to face the ultimate despair that lies ahead. And I'm like, oh, Junko Inoshima's in this game?
I was just about to make that joke. Yep. Speaking of that, just real quick, I watched the Danganronpa anime, and it was basically just Danganronpa, but worse.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
It was real disappointing.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I think it's Greg Ayers does Monokuma, and it isn't as good, even though I like Greg Ayers. But
none of the only voice that's the same as Makoto, and
which it's funny because that's one of the, I would say, least notable performances in the original game.
Yeah. But he does a pretty good job in the anime. Everybody else, it was just like,
yeah.
They didn't localize it, like. Because, you know, like they called Genocide Jack Genocider Show, which is fine, but I think it works better in English just because of, you know, how that is by comparison, and genocider isn't a word. But,
yeah. No, well, we already have a better Danganronpa anime. It's called Brave Story: New Traveler.
Sorry.
Anyway,
I just had to bring it up.
No, totally fine. Yeah, I've always wanted to watch it, even though I've heard it's not that good, and I still kind of want to watch it, even though you said it's not that good. After we've defeated the Demon King, Melody makes the big pronouncement. She loudly projects to all Demon Kin. Now, she doesn't have like a megaphone or anything, and the Demon Kin, most of them at this point, are in another dimension. So I'm not sure how they all hear her, but I guess she just yells really loud. She says, "Your king has been slain." Basically, we kicked your king's ass. You better stop your invasion. Everyone in the party gives yet another dope speech about how they'll always defend Vision. And also, they all sort of independently start calling themselves the five sworn friends of Tai. I guess there's a memo that was going around. They've got like a little group chat called it's like everyone but you is in it, and then someone titled the group chat the five sworn friends, and then it kind of stuck. So literally like 3 different people call themselves that. So everyone is super pumped, and they all put their swords up together to do like a go team thing. All for one and one for all, and they're like, hell yeah, we kicked ass, let's go back home to Vision. And also all the demons are like, oh fuck, they killed the Demon King, oh fuck, the power of friendship, fuck. So yeah, we're like, good job team. So we run all the way back, we exit the dungeon and run across the world map in the cool music. Actually, I did get well, no, I wasn't playing at this point, but the video I was watching did get a battle at this point. Run all the way back, and we go through the door to head home, and that's it. The game's over, folks. We beat it. I'm just kidding. As soon as we get through the door, obviously some kind of surprising thing happens, but as soon as we go through the door, it says Chapter 11, so we're not going to talk about it.
Yeah, we'll talk about it next time.
So
it's juicy.
Yeah, so the funny thing is, like, if we're strictly stopping at the end of Chapter 10, it's like, cool, we did it. We saved the day. Nothing interesting. Nothing else is going to happen. I'm sure everything else will be fine.
Yeah. It's totally okay.
Yeah,
everything's good.
We can just save the game and turn it off, and we're done. Like, things are fine.
Yep.
There's no credits in this game. It's fine.
Nobody made this game. It came from space.
Yep. So that's it. And if you recall, there are 12 chapters.
Yeah, there are 12 chapters, but there was a prologue. So this next chapter is the last chapter.
No, we just did 10, though. Or we just did 10.
We just finished 10.
Oh, you mean,
start 11.
yeah, sorry. When I said 12
0.
chapters, what I meant was the last one is called 10. It's called 12. Gotcha. Yeah. Yeah, cool. So there's only one more chapter left.
There are 12 chapters, but this game was written by programmers, so it starts at 0.
Yes. Yeah. No, what you said makes total sense. In my brain, though, like, I would have said there's 11 chapters and a prologue, but what you said is also a totally reasonable thing to say. Yeah. So anyway, we got just one more chapter left. Probably some juicy shenanigans. But yeah, that's it. Let's listen to track number 74. And then do some minimums.
Hell yeah. Min-moms. I only recorded 2 of them, one of which we already talked about, which was, those are bees.
Yeah.
Which is just so good. But my other one is when we all don our cloaks to blend in. Sogrith dons one as well. It's like everyone looks like the exact same. They did a cute thing where like they're all different heights. You can tell it's all your party instead of it just being the same thing. But Sogrith is a waterkin, so he has like his big meaty claws hanging out of his robe and a tail and all this stuff. It's like it's not a disguise for you, man. You're just a big ass lizard in a tiny robe, and it's great. I love it.
Fat guy in a little robe.
Well, those are the only ones I had. What about you guys?
I didn't write any down. I was so frustrated with how it was going and getting the cheats set up that I was like, I just need to get through it.
I have 2. I feel like I had a couple more, but I guess I didn't write them down or something, or my internet didn't save my note or whatever. But I have 2. One isn't actually my mom, but it's more just a side quest. So this week we have immediately we leave the Dragon City like in a cutscene. So normally, typical RPG instinct is you get to a new city and you explore it. But if you both enter and leave the city in the cutscene, you may not think to go back into the city to explore it. But if you do, If you take Melody to the Council of Dragons, there's a really cool scene. Basically, the Worm King calls her to attention, and she's like, yes, sir, or whatever. And then he calls her he's like, I want to talk to the great Highlander leader. And Melody gets like really like kind of embarrassed. She's like super humble. She's like, oh my God, I do not deserve to be called the great Highlander leader. I just, I'm just doing my best to protect the village. And in fact, the Worm King literally symbolizes like the entire ideal of the Highlanders. Like they're like descendants of dragons. They want to be honorable. So she's like awed to be in his presence. But then he's like, I've got a task for her. And she's like, oh, fuck you. Oh God, you got a task for me? Fuck, I wasn't ready for this. And then he says that it's her job to protect Vision. He basically just really encourages her and pumps her up for her duty, like pumps the hell up out of her. It's really cute. And then she gives a cool speech. She says, let the flames temper my soul, or else let my body wither and break. And then she learns a new move, and then tells her that was a really good line. Nice. So real cute scene. Also, she gets a dope ass move. Yeah. The one other thing is when you're in the swamp, they do this. There's a lot of good stuff actually this week. When in that optional scene when Melody is being all humble, says a line like, "Oh wow, you're humble for once," or something like that, and she's like, "Shut the fuck up." But anyway, when you're in the swamp and Tao is telling us where the door is, they do that RPG thing where they're talking about what to do next, but they don't just straight up say it because the game designers want the player to remember it with your own brain. So they're like, you need to go to that place, and then like someone like Sogrith is like, oh yeah, remember that place, and then Roppel is like, or no, Sogrith is like, remember when we had to drag your stupid ass away from that place because you wanted to go in there? And then Roppel is like, hey, I just wanted to do science research. So it's super obvious, but they don't actually say it. And then is like, I still, and eventually every other party member is like, oh yeah, that place. Until finally is like, I still don't know what y'all are talking. I still don't know what place y'all are talking about. And everyone kind of looks at her, and Roppel says something in his Roppel-y way, and goes, "It's not my fault. You speak Brainiac, and I don't." Which is a really cute line. Yeah, she's just so good.
Piggybacking off of that one, what I think is hilarious is, so in the cutscene, they're all like, "Hey, figure it out with your own brain. We're not going to tell you." But if you go to the world map and you press R, it's like when you press R, the hints before, like specifically was the one where we had to find the mine and like the maze part of the world map last week or something. The hint was like, they said that it was north of here, but ... And so it's like, it's a maze. Go find it. But this one, it's Roppel, and he just says, the door is in the border cave. That's it. They're like, oh, figure it out with your brain. It's like, okay, if you needed a hint, we're just going to fucking tell you. Just go to the goddamn door.
So basically, you have to use your brain in one of two ways. You have to either remember the cutscene about the door, or you have to remember that pressing L2 gives you a hint, which frankly, I never do. So actually, it's not the most trivial thing to remember. Luckily, the game never lets me get lost, because I definitely would forget that on the reg. But yeah, no, that's all we've got. That's all we've got for the week. So yeah, let's. And next week we're just finishing the
game.
Finishing this goddamn game. I did peek ahead at the Let's Play, or the long play, and it seems like though there are tons of side quests and stuff like that, actual amount of plot content is like about what we'd expect. It's a chapter, so it's not like, oh, chapter 11 is insanely long for no reason. So yeah, expect about the same amount as usual.
Nice. So so next week we will cover the ending, talk about our thoughts, and we've also been amassing some Q&A on our Discord. If you are not on the Discord and you don't have a Discord, but you still want to shoot us some questions you want us read on the air, you can send us an email at rpgbookclub@gmail.com. and we'll read those on the air. We haven't had a good Q&A session in a hot minute, but somebody asked a question in the Q&A part of Discord, and then like 15 people showed up and were like, oh, hey, I have a question too. And so
we forgot about this channel.
Yeah.
I saw that there were a lot of questions. I was really surprised about that.
Yeah, so we'll do those. And then for movie night, unfortunately, it will not be tangentially related this time around because we're going to watch Wataru's story and for the Brave Story movie. I was thinking of like Braveheart or the Reign of Fire or something as dragons.
Reign of Fire.
but no, I think mostly I really want to see Wataru's story just to see how it all compares. And I mean, Persona and Sailor Moon, we both did the text.
Yep.
And Final Fantasy. So I guess we'll do the same here. Then after that, we will be starting Tales of Symphonia for our sellout game. And super excited on that. I'm also super excited because the Tales series is mine and Summer's like gaming together moments, and she hasn't played Symphonia. Ooh. Symphonia was the one that we weren't going to do because I had already played it. We were supposed to experience it together, but since I'm doing it for the podcast, I'm going to move the PS3 out of my office into like our bedroom. We're just going to hang out and play Tales, and it'll be great.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
So highly recommend, by the way, for everyone listening, since this is a multiplayer RPG, if you have a partner, slap them on player 2, because then it becomes...
Oh, shit.
It was actually me doing this with Summer through Tales of Graces that gave me the idea to start this podcast, because it's basically the same thing where you have another person that's reacting to the plot twist at the same exact moment that you are. Because normally with games like this, you just have to, like, if you're playing Final Fantasy VII in the wild, just be like, oh wow, I love this game. Did you get to disc 2? Cool. Now we can talk about the thing that happens at the end of disc 1,
right? Instead
of like just, oh my god, this just happened. What could this possibly mean? This sort of things. And so, highly recommend having a partner play with you if you're going to play along with Tales of Symphonia. But other than that, that's it for the week. If you like what you hear, you can hit us up on our website at www.rpgbook.club, where you can donate to help keep our lights on and get access to our Ko-Fi exclusive series of Book Club no Kiseki, where me, Bernard, and Matt are making our way through the entire Kiseki series. It currently is weekly. By the second game, it's going to go bi-weekly because these games are dense, and I'm killing myself writing these notes every week. So, especially because during Tales, I'll have to write Tales notes and Kiseki notes. So, moving that to bi-weekly, but it'll be a bi-weekly series, and that means we'll be at it for a really goddamn long time. But you also will find the polls, like our upcoming Best of the Rest poll, where you can pick what game we're going to play next. The next poll will be between Final Fantasy X-2 and Breath of Fire 4 and Anacronox and Hexyz Force. Wild group of games there.
Yeah. Varied
as fuck. So you can vote on whichever one of those you think that we should play, and then the winner we will play. And other than that, I think that's it. So for RPG Book Club, I have been Sam Ullman.
I'm Elias Sailor Eli Warren.
And I am Maddy Grace Webbin.
Toodaloo.
Bye, dorks.
Turn off Sonic All-Star Racing Transformed.
Gosh, what a good game.
It's like crazy how good it is, because I only have it on the Vita, so I don't get the whole like playing with your friends part of it and stuff. So like you only can go so far on a kart battler on a single player system.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm like, every track is fantastic. Like everything is just so good, and I wish that I had it on a system where I could like play with people.
The problem with Sonic and the Ultra Racing Transformed is that it is, I think, the greatest kart racer of all time. But whenever your friends come over and want to play Mario Kart, you can never convince them to play it instead. Right. They're like, no, that sounds dumb. And you're like, no, I swear to God, it's so fucking good. And they're like, let's just play Mario Kart. And it's like, fuck you. I will say, you know what? One person who gets it, me and my friend, as I mentioned, are rewatching Breaking Bad. And in like season 4, episode 4 or something like that, one of the other main character, Jesse, played by the incredible Aaron Paul, he spends most of that series in a downward spiral, basically, like a mental health spiral, basically. He has to do something terrible, like kill a guy, and then he's racked with grief and has a downward spiral for 5 episodes, and then finally he starts to get better, and then Walter White is like, what if I manipulate you into killing a guy again? So anyway, he's in one of his spirals, and he has a house now, and he basically turns his house into just like party zone for like literal weeks, where he's just blasting music and people are doing drugs and ordering pizza with his piles of cash. But anyway, the point is, at one point he randomly like starts walking up to his room and taps some extremely hot girl who, not to be clocking people, but it's okay to clock people as trans if you're trans. So she looked trans to me, and it was hot. And we all know that Jesse is a total ally. So anyway, she just like taps her on the shoulder, and she follows him up to the room. And I was like, oh, are they just like gonna fuck? But no, they both sit on his bed and start playing Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing Transformed. And I'm like, that rules. Both Jesse and someone involved in the making of the show has good taste. Yes. Also, if you know enough about the show and that character, you'll know that like it makes perfect sense that he would have weirdly good, like slightly obscure, slightly off-kilter taste in video games. He's not out there playing like obscure artsy indie shit, but like he's playing like the weird Sega game instead of Mario Kart.
Oh yeah.
Sorry, that was completely unrelated, but you know, it's a great game, so might as well talk about it.